Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Cay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Enlightened Evolution. I almost forgot what I was doing.
Good morning.
You'll notice my voice is a little different today. I'm a little stuffy. If you're watching on video, I'm Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer today. I'm a little sick, so we're still here though. Today we are talking about what we've learned in nursing. Since Cay and I are both nurses, we talk all the time about all the things nursing has taught us. It's truly life-changing. So we're going to get into all of those different things today. I did want to take a second as we're going into the new year and just express some gratitude for our listeners. You guys are amazing. Our podcast platform gives us kind of a Spotify rap type deal. So I wanted to give a shout out to our top cities. These are no surprise. Flint, Michigan, number 1. Way to represent for the hometown. Gainesville and Dawsonville, Georgia are number 2, which is where I live. So we have a lot of like friends and family that listen, and I love that. I've got coworkers that listen who are awesome. Also, Mount Pleasant is in our top. It's our number 4, which I'm surprised. I think I know a few people there. And then Burton, Michigan is number 5. For our top countries, United States, obviously number 1. United Kingdom is 2nd. Canada is 3rd. Germany is 4th.
Interesting.
And Australia is 5. I know.
Hey.
So shout out to all of our international listeners who we love you. And I'm so happy that you're listening to us. That is awesome. How are you doing today, Kay?
I'm great. I've started a new beet juice journey as of yesterday. No, let me tell you something. I feel so good. Yesterday, I'm like, okay, this is just a fluke. Like, I must have just no, I drank it yesterday and I had to like choke it down because it is gross. I'm not going to lie to anybody. Made me a little nauseated.
What if you mixed it with orange juice? Have you tried that?
I mixed it with cranberry juice, actually. I just want to get it done and over with.
Yeah.
But I did it again today and I felt so good. Like, I drink it. First, I drink some water and then I drink it and then I drink more water. And I'm telling you what, I just have energy. I just feel really good. Yeah, so that's all. That's about what's new with me.
I need to do that. I have a juicer, so I might go buy some fresh beets. I might Google, what to mask it with.
Yeah, it's just I mean, you're sick. I don't know if you have your taste, so that might work for you right now.
And yeah, right now I can't taste a whole lot. Although Jordan made some chicken and dumplings last night and they were fire.
Oh, how comforting.
Oh my God, so good. Yeah, that was exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you can't see it on the screen. Can you see something?
Looks like a
on
hickey.
My neck? Yeah, bitch.
From your cat?
This motherfucker. From my cat, Jesus, no. No, from my husband. This morning I was like, do you notice anything different about me? And he's like, nice. And I was like, no, not nice. I'm not 16. He's like, it's the weekend. It's fine. I'm like, I have to present in front of 60 people on Monday. This better be gone.
I'm sorry I said your cat. The reason that popped into my head so quick is because I was just talking to my son's girlfriend about their kitten that's constantly sucking on her pants because it's trying to nurse on her sweatpants. You know how they do their little biscuits thing? And
yeah.
So I'm like, oh, because I know you sleep with your cats on your face.
Yeah, and she does bite me and eat my hair during my sleep. So I mean, I wouldn't put it past
her. I'm glad it's the weekend over there.
It's the freaking weekend.
That's right. That's so funny.
Lord.
I mean, isn't it a little chilly there? Just throw on a scarf.
Yeah. I have some little turtlenecks or whatever I can wear. We'll be fine.
Love it. Love it. I wish I had some battle wounds from this weekend, but I certainly don't.
Mm.
All right. So nursing school, nursing in general. I have a lot about nursing school because that's the transition
Mhm.
of like changing your whole identity.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it you feel like I feel like it's makes you isolated, feel a little lonely.
Oh, yeah. And they tell you, like, when you go into nursing school, they're like, "You this has to be your sole focus, like, you can't do anything else." I mean, they
Mhm.
told us, like, "You can't work." I worked because hello, you have to survive, but
Same.
they they kinda do warn you, like, you're gonna isolate yourself because this is all you can focus on.
Yeah, there's major like time management pressure. It's like this rigorous schedule with your studies alone and then your life responsibilities, like the critical ones like laundry and cleaning and showering.
Mm.
You don't have time for hobbies. You have to sacrifice time with your family if you're a parent. Maybe like their basketball games or extracurricular activities or whatever, you can't always go to them. And yeah, the time you spend with your friends, like every Friday night hanging out and is your time to decompress, maybe that you have to stay in and study.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like
and I can't even imagine, like, it was so hard as a young single person with no kids. I cannot imagine going through nursing school with kids.
so I've heard a lot of people say that, and I can't imagine being single or being with no kids
Yeah?
during nursing school. Like, yes, it was hard, but my kids forced me to grow up and maintain a schedule.
Mm.
So it I had so much to do and so many deadlines to meet with nursing school and in my personal life. It was like a constant I have to keep moving or something's not going to get done. So I felt like they helped me stay consistent with everything.
That makes sense.
It is
I feel
emotionally
like
draining though.
oh,
Like the
and
academic
I wanted to
stress.
ask you,
Yeah.
yes. Do you feel like in nursing school they prepared you for the amount of trauma that you would endure being a
Fuck
nurse?
no. No.
Okay, because I was reflecting back and I'm like, no, like we maybe had one chapter on death and dying. There was no like self care. There was no like, this is how you decompress after you've just watched multiple people die during your shift. Like, there was none of that.
Not only that, they don't really prepare you for like drama within, with in between your colleagues and
Yeah.
the way that it literally microdoses PTSD to you every single day with family
Mm-hmm.
members and patients that could be threatening or like you said the death aspect of it. Depending on how the person dies, yeah, it can be traumatizing and then how the family reacts is equally traumatizing and you have to maintain your composure, keep a straight face and be like, you know, the strength for, everybody around you. And your team like that makes or breaks your day. You know how your
Mm-hmm.
coworkers show up for you.
Absolutely.
But man, no. Absolutely not. Your nursing instructors they can make or break your nursing school. I had one instructor that was just awful. I loved 90% of them, 99% of them, but I just
Mm-hmm.
had one that she was just committed to disliking me.
Mm.
She definitely showed favoritism, and to some students she loved, the other ones she did not love. She seemed to like the girls that looked like her more, which is silly,
Oh,
but true.
that's interesting. I'll have to
Yeah.
ask you when we get off of here,
I'm not gonna
because
describe
you and
her
I
right now,
no,
but
no, um, because we went to the same nursing school and my mom went to that same nursing school,
Oh.
and I had some of the same instructors that my mom
Mhm.
had in nursing school, and I wonder because I graduated in 2011. What year did you graduate?
Oh, I don't even know. What year is it right now? It's about to be 2025. I
Yeah.
think I graduated in, like, 20 or 21 because
Okay.
I graduated during COVID, so which
Yeah.
is a whole
Oh gosh.
other
And
subject.
that, oh, yes. I wondered, like, I saw the people coming out of nursing school as we were onboarding them into the hospital during COVID, but I can't imagine ho like, it's so different because there was a lot of schools that didn't get to do. Did you get to do all of your clinicals and everything?
No, so I my clinicals got cut in half, so I went into my career with less experience than the average nurse, and then I was given double the responsibility of what the average nurse gets when they get out of nursing school because it was so short-staffed. I think it was a year into COVID, or maybe it was probably a little less than a year into COVID, and, like, the telemetry unit I work on is only supposed to have about 4 patients, and there was multiple days I had 6 patients with no nurse
Hmm.
aides, and these are stroke patients on top of that, so completes, which means they don't
Yeah.
they don't get up and move on their own. They don't have control over the functions of their body. So it mm, luckily we're fully staffed now, and nurse aides have picked up as well, but, yeah, I feel like now on the days that I have only 4 patients and we're fully staffed and we have a charge nurse and a nurse aide, like, it's the day goes by very slow and it's boring because
Mm.
I'm so
Yeah.
used to being stressed out the whole entire time when I first started.
Mhm.
Mhm. I don't know, was it how long did you do bedside for before you went back to school?
Let's see. So 2011, 6 years?
Nice.
About 6 years of bedside before I went into leadership. I stayed bedside all the way through my master's degree, and then once I graduated with that, I went into leadership, and I mean, I've worked all kinds of areas, emergency department, tele, med surge, critical care, mother baby, all over the place. I've never worked in a procedural area. I've seen a lot of things, and I think I you and I talk about, like, doing social experiments.
Mhm.
What I have noticed is the people that go into nursing tend to be already traumatized by something in their life.
Mhm.
Like, it's a lot of people that are people pleasers, a lot of people that have already been through trauma, which I think there's some good and bad to that. When you've already been through trauma, you already have some resiliency built in. You
Yes.
already know how to survive things, but you tend to do it in unhealthy ways, and a lot of people haven't been taught. I know I wasn't taught, like, how to healthily? I don't think that's a word. How to be resilient in a healthy way.
Mhm.
We weren't taught that in nursing school, and it's something a lot of people don't start to figure out until they've already burnt out, and they're like, "Oh my god, like, I don't wanna do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Like, how do I continue?" So, I think my biggest thing is I wish that resiliency was taught in school, and I wish that, because I feel like when I was in nursing school, we were taught, like, you're a servant, and you are this is a service profession, but it was kind of taught like you do everything and anything that's needed and forget about yourself.
Yes, and also as a nursing student, you're kind of used as a an extra servant.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so during your shift, you do have to focus on yourself and nourish your body and take a break. And you also have to be able to set boundaries with people and tell them, no, you're not like, this isn't how we're going to talk to each other today. I can't go get that for you right now. You've already had 14 juices today. We have to save some for other patients on the floor. That's not a like I think my favorite line is that's not a priority for me right now because usually it's not. Something more critical is, the priority. And so I agree with you. I think because of all the trauma I've been through, stepping into certain situations and being a mom. So I've already dealt with as
Mhm.
a parent, you deal with so many things taking care of
Yours.
your baby.
Yeah.
But I think stepping into a nursing role, it wasn't as shocking to me. I think if I was because I was a little bit older when I went back to nursing
Mhm.
school, I was 27. So I think stepping into that role was the transition was a little bit easier. It was just I agree with you. The people pleasing. You do want to please everybody and you want to make everybody feel seen and heard. I think the hardest part for me still is like I'll get in conversation with a patient and just like sit there and like I connect with all my patients and we just shoot the shit. But it's like, oh
Mhm.
fuck, like I should have cut this
I gotta
conversation
go take
short
care of
5
all
minutes.
my other
Yeah,
patients.
yeah. So I think I still need to do a little bit better at that, like time management with that because I do give myself to them so much, but I I enjoy doing that though. It's important to get to know them and for them to feel seen and it's like the hardest
Yeah,
time of their life while they're there and you are there serving them.
absolutely.
Like you've given up your life to serve humanity in that way. So you do owe them a certain aspect of yourself.
And I think we get so used I mean, we're used to seeing people naked all the time and, having everything out in the open, and it's sometimes we forget, like, this might be their first time in the hospital, and they may be very modest or, not willing to share as much, and it's traumatizing for them, like, "Oh, I'm just gonna strip down naked in front of these strangers, they're gonna look at every orifice of my body."
Every nook and
It's
cranny,
a lot.
baby.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
digging in there.
Literally sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah, my job makes me laugh. They do. They are my men especially, and I do feel for them and they're in such a vulnerable state. Like if they can't urinate, if the urinary retention or something, and they have to.
Oh,
I find patient experience is much difficult for men to endure than women. Is what
yeah.
that's what I've experienced. And I think another thing that I've gotten really good at is, compartmentalizing. So,
Mm.
we recently got a new manager, and within the last couple months, and the previous manager, everybody loved him, we love him, and everyone's kinda dedicated to misunderstanding this new manager because they miss the old one so much. I'll
Mm.
just leave it at that.
Yep,
But I think she's
yep.
doing great. I think she's gonna do a great job. She can't control what leadership and the higher ups or the pressure they're putting on her and you know what I mean? So that's business though. A lot of people get really emotional and upset about the politics and the rules and the pressure that the hospital puts on you to chart appropriately and meet certain deadlines or dress a certain way or and like if this is your job, if this is what you've signed up for, if you go like I had to realize like if I just go here and follow their rules, no one will talk to me. I don't like you coming at me talking to me. And
Mhm,
so the version of yourself that you give to leadership, like that's business. Like that's just business. And the version you
mhm.
give yourself to your patients is like that raw compassion that they need to feel seen. And I think
Yeah.
that was over time I feel more at peace and leveled and grounded at work now. And I wish I would have learned that sooner, but that's not taught in nursing school.
It's not, and that's something, like, I even see to this day of we do a horrible job in health systems, and what the bedside staff doesn't know is, the thing that they see is they don't see their leader, and when they do see their leader is telling them, "You need to do this and you need to do that," and that's all the interaction they really have with them,
Mhm.
and they don't see that then their higher ups are pulling them into meetings 9 hours a day, all these mandatory meetings they have to go to, all these metrics they have to keep up with. And oh, here's a new initiative this week. Here's another new initiative this week. Here's another. And it just doesn't stop. And there is a huge disconnect between bedside understanding that you're here to do your job and take care of your patients. Your leaders should be making that as easy as possible for you, but their leaders are not making it easy for them, and
Mhm.
it's horrible. I hate it.
I I can't
I hate
imagine
that aspect of
being
healthcare.
yeah. I like I well, you've told me about your position and the environment, but you get to create at your job.
Yes,
You
I
get to
have
be
a very
creative.
special job.
Mhm. You get to be creative at your job,
Did I
but
tell you?
go ahead.
Did I tell you the other day? So we toured high schoolers of our hospital.
Oh,
They're
you mentioned it,
interested in
yeah.
healthcare careers, and we take them all over and like show them different areas. And one of my friends, like, people don't understand how many different things you can do in nursing. One of my
Mhm.
friends, he's a nurse in IT, and he's using a 3D printer to print, like, it was a clip that we needed for a monitor to like transport a monitor. And he's building this equipment for the hospital as a nurse. Like, truly, that's one thing I do love about nursing is if you just get burnt out in one area, there's so many different avenues to go to.
Mhm. For sure. I feel like I'm at that point because 'cause I've been on the floor I'm on for a little over 3 years now. I don't It's not that I don't learn something new every day because I do, whether it's about myself or how to handle situations or but I feel like the skill set and the knowledge, I really wanna go to neuro ICU.
Yeah.
And I love the nurses that work there. They're they're very I just love the whole vibe down there. It just seems, like, very welcoming and
You should try it. You should try something different. When I floated and I floated to everywhere and anywhere, yeah, it was a little crazy, but it was very like invigorating for me
Mhm.
to be in one place one day and then go use a different skill set over here the next day. Like that really got my mind
Were you resourced
going.
then?
And yeah.
Yeah.
And back then, like, our resource was not differentiated. Now we have one that just goes to med surge, one that just goes to critical care, one that just goes to women's and children's. I went everywhere, which
Mhm.
honestly probably wasn't the safest thing. Women's and children's, like, yeah, they would give me like the healthiest moms. I did have a postpartum bleed one time and I was like, what do I do? But luckily they were very helpful and they came and helped and we got it taken care of. I don't remember what the vitals of a baby are supposed to be.
I know no, I don't either. I know when you touch their foot, it's supposed to go like this. What's it? I don't even know what that is. Babinski is what comes to mind. I don't even know what that is. I
Yeah,
don't
I think that
I
might be
would
it.
I would scream inside if I had to get floated to labor and delivery or postpartum. Oof.
Yeah. It was a lot. I think I've sent you the TikTok of that one nurse that
Yeah,
got floated to mother
she's
baby. I love her. She is hilarious.
she is. I love her too.
I love how she talks about it. What was I gonna say about nursing school?
I feel like you have to
It'll come to
relearn
me.
your passions and
Oh
figure out
yeah.
who you are after nursing school. You just get into this it's just like normal life in nursing school, isolating yourself, studying constantly, dealing with home stuff, and it's just like the same cycle over and over and over again. Yes, you may get to go out and have a good time sometimes, but not often. And so after you're
Mhm.
done with nursing school and now you become a nurse, it's like, okay, you get to breathe and now you're a nurse. But it's like, okay, now what do I do with my free time? And there was like this void I remember feeling.
Mhm.
And like I finally got to sit down and process things that happened either during nursing school or before. It was like my healing from any trauma got put on hold and then it kind of flooded back in after nursing school because like I said there was this just empty space and time that wasn't filled with studying and consuming and I do I appreciate the people in that I went through nursing school with You
You build
build
a bond with them.
yeah, there's this, like, camaraderie kinda, like, that you just have this understanding for each other and you can vent, and nobody understands what nursing school is like other than your classmates. And
Mhm.
then sometimes they become lifelong friends, sometimes they don't, because there's always like some drama and love affairs everywhere. And, you know,
Always. Like,
always. And
that's a
I
part of Grey's
love it.
Anatomy that is real.
Oh yeah, I love those. I love those stories. And sometimes I'm a part of the chaos, I'm not gonna lie. So, also, it's like when you get into and then you're just, like, dumped in to, like, the health system as a nurse, as a healthcare provider,
Mhm.
and just the transition from nursing school to being a nurse and then having this void. It's like, "Who the fuck am I? What do I like to do? What do I wanna go out and do? How am I gonna save this money I'm not used to making?" It's like all these things. And I'm still not great
Yeah.
at it because I am a consumer, so I got, like, my retirement and everything, but this year I'm gonna try to just do better. Like, no, I don't need any more on clouds.
I've heard people from, like, reality TV talk about how they wish that the producers of the show they were on would have prepared them for the influx of financial gain that they were gonna have and how to manage that, and
Yeah.
I feel like the same is true for nursing school. Like, I remember my first year when I was in nursing school, I think I made $10,000. And then my next year as a nurse, I paid as much in taxes that I had made the previous year.
Yeah. Yeah, my I
And that's
know.
a huge jump.
It is, and it's like, okay, I I just don't have any education when it comes to finances. It wasn't anything I've ever been educated on. They're like, "Here, fill out this paperwork so you have retirement. They'll match you with this." I'm like, "Okay." And then what am I doing with the rest of this money? Because like you said, it's a huge you're in a way different tax bracket as a nurse. So,
And
and
I
it's
just
really
MC hammered that shit.
I did too. And it's honestly not that much money. People go to nursing like, "Oh, I'm
No,
gonna make all this extra money." Yeah, you're not necessarily living a paycheck to paycheck. Okay, you do have extra spending cash for, like, nice things you want to go on trips, but it's not like I mean, you're certainly I don't know, you're
you're not rich. We're
no,
still middle class.
but it sounds like a lot w for someone that's not making it, but once you start making it
Oh, certainly.
I don't know who said Tupac, Biggie, "More money, more problems," Lil Wayne, who said that shit? Yeah,
I
so I
think it
just
was
spend it.
Biggie. More money, more problems. Yeah. It's wild. And I think back to, like, humble roots and not having shit to my name, and now I'm like, how could I not survive? Like, I'm like, I could never take a cut in my
That's
pay. Like, how could I survive on a cut in my pay?
Yeah, that's how I know. It's because like, I did I'm on Indeed all the time looking at other nursing jobs and in, like, the community and travel jobs or whatever.
We need to have a travel nurse on here.
Mhm. I'm thinking about that after my kids graduate, doing that for sure. And then just staying on maybe where I am, like, per diem or something. I don't know how that'll all work, but either way, the reason I've stayed so long where I'm at is because they pay the most in Genesee County. I'm not
Yeah.
for what I gotta do as a bedside nurse. I looked at another hospital in the area, and they're doing a travel gig for, like, 65 an hour, which really isn't that much, and
Mhm.
their ratio is 1 to 4, 1 to 6, 1 to 9, depending on the day. Tell me how that's safe.
1 to 4 to 1 to 9 is a
Yeah.
huge difference. What?
There's no way I would ever take 9 patients.
No.
You literally okay, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe for, like, 300 an hour. But there's no way. It's unsafe. You could hurt somebody. Like, your mental health is at risk. Like, there's all these reasons
Yeah.
why I'd absolutely not do it. I feel like there's a price you could give me for probably anything in my career, but that is That's a lot. I'm like, "Okay, you're this is offering $65 an hour for 13 weeks of this bullshit? Absolutely not."
I know, and that's the problem is it's hit or miss, and I think there are communities out there that talk about different travel positions, but some hospitals treat their travel nurses amazing and, give them the lower acuity assignments, as you should, because your core staff should be the ones taking care of your most sick and your specialized patients.
Mhm.
Your travel nurse is there as support. I hate the term "a warm body," but sometimes that's what we feel like is just a number.
Yeah.
And then other places, they have no resources, so the travel nurses I onboard travel nurses all the time, and they've come from all different kinds of things, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's horrible.
Mhm.
And I don't want people like, I think people that are not in a healthcare field need to know that, like, when we talk about it being horrible, the constant thought in your mind is, how do I safely care for my patients? Like, I don't want to mess up and injure someone,
Mhm.
possibly kill someone because I don't have the resources to take care for my patients. It's not like, "Oh, I just want this money
No.
and blah blah blah." Yes, it's manual labor and it's hard, but it's mentally taxing to know that if you fuck up one thing, you could kill somebody.
Yeah, and it's also and being a new nurse because okay, this is something that was, like, a struggle for me. You're a brand new nurse, so you don't know these doctors you're getting orders from. And on top of that, there's brand new baby doctors learning just like you are that you're getting orders
It's a
from.
it's a rough combination.
So, let me tell you, if I would have executed 100% of the orders that I've been given, so many patients would have died. If I would have given all the
Absolutely.
orders doctors would have given me. I mean, I've given that baby doctors have put in orders for fast acting insulin when they meant to do long acting insulin.
Hmm.
Imagine that.
Goodness, no.
The potassium, can we please stop ordering IV potassium for someone that has a potassium of
It's
3.4? That is
oh,
ridiculous. I
geez.
don't need to give them
Absolutely.
4 10 MEQ bags of potassium for a potassium of 3.4.
They
They can have
burn
a
your veins.
not only that, I don't need them to do a potassium shift today on top of that. Like,
Mhm.
so you it was a little hard to question these people and say like, "Hey, I know this is wrong. Like, I don't think this is safe." Is how the conversation starts. "I don't think this is a safe order. Can you please review this with your attending before I proceed with this order?" And then a lot of the times they change it because they're learning too. But
Yes.
man, that's something like on top of not knowing your own shit you gotta do, you gotta take keep track of, the
The
doctor's shit
physician who is a
too.
higher level of you.
Mhm.
Do you feel like they really taught I don't feel like I feel like I learned to learn my shit in nursing school, to know my meds, to know the interactions, all of that, but I don't think they taught us how to have those crucial conversations with someone higher than us of, "Hey, I have
No.
a concern. I don't wanna give this to the my
I had
patient."
one instructor that was like every day she made a point and she was so funny, but she made a point to be like, no, doctor, we're not doing that today." Like, she was a hard ass, and I appreciated her because she definitely advocated for her patients in a very abrasive, direct way, and I could just imagine how she was at work because she was still working bedside in the ICU and being a nursing instructor. So and she was,
Mm,
much older, probably in her 50s or 60s, so I don't know,
mhm.
I loved that. She gave us a lot of confidence, I think, to be able to speak up when
Good.
and also something I really appreciate about her too, she's like, "Sometimes your intuition's just gonna tell you that something's not right, and you may not even know what the answer is that's why it's not right, and so you need to learn how to ask the right question." So I've
Mm.
learned how to ask the right questions to get the answers I need about caring for my patients in the safest way.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a
Mhm.
great lesson to learn. We definitely have a nursing sixth sense where you can walk into a patient's room and be
Mhm.
like, "Mm-mm, something's not right here."
Yeah,
And that's
this
something you develop over time for sure with experience.
yeah, you can just like, I don't got a good feeling about them today. That's the one I gotta keep an eye on today.
Yeah. I feel like nursing school and early in my nursing career. So when I was in nursing school, I mean, for myself and my own traumas, I knew that the world could be cruel, but I didn't
Mhm.
understand just how cruel it could be.
Mm.
There was a patient when I was doing my OB rotation who was developmentally delayed, and she was there birthing a baby, and she had been raped
Mhm.
and now is having a baby, and she does not have the cognitive function to care for a baby. And I'm like, what the what? Like, what is going on here?
Mhm.
I don't know if that baby ended up getting adopted. I don't think they did. I think the family was maybe going, but I believe that also a family member was the person that raped this girl. So that was very confusing. And then when I got into my first job, we had this girl. I know we don't like the term frequent flyer. Is That's a term that goes around
Girl,
hospitals
because
of a
it's
person that
true.
you see a lot.
They love it there more than at home.
I think people try to turn it and say familiar faces. That's the like
Oh, I love that.
the PR way to say it.
Yeah.
But this person that we had that was a familiar face, it wasn't because she wanted to be she wasn't drug seeking or anything like that.
Mhm.
This girl was also developmentally delayed. Her mom had been prostituting her out in Flint.
Oh my
She had
god.
full-blown AIDS. She ended up having a peg tube. I think she ended up with a colostomy.
Poor
Like,
baby,
her mom was
Jesus.
just constantly putting her in horrible situations. So she'd come in, like, septic and things like that, and we would just see her so much because she was getting more sick going out into the streets and then coming in. And that just, like, blew my mind. And so we adopted her. I know we had her one year for Christmas, and we all went and got her Christmas gifts and, like, just got
Aw.
her all this stuff. And it was difficult too because there was a time when that mom came up to the hospital, and I believe at that time the girl, she was an adult, but because she was developmentally delayed, like, she was still in the care of her mother, and there was all these, like, ethical dilemmas and, like, social work and case management getting involved and trying to get her and what is it called?
Like adult
Someone
protective
else to take
services.
custody of her. Yeah.
Well,
It
a
was wild.
court-appointed guardian.
Yeah, so
Mm.
that's why we had her for a long time. I think it was over Christmas because we were working that of trying to get her a court appointed guardian and get her taken away from her mother's care.
Mm.
But then it's like those people come up there, and so, like, her mom comes up to see her, and you wanna throw hands with this person, and
Yeah.
you can't.
Mhm. There's
That's
been some cases like
some
that too I've
restraint.
experienced. Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to do that. There's been some patient cases when and their spouses are abusive as well. That's a little bit
Yep.
difficult to deal with because you have to put a smile on your face, and
I have
then
called, what is it? Department of Family Services
mhm.
on my patient. I had a patient once, male. His wife and 2 kids came to visit him. He shut the door. All of a sudden, I hear things being thrown in the room. I hear him screaming at her. She screams. So I call security up. They come. I mean, at my current place, we have amazing security. They show up and they like just their presence makes people calm the
Oh,
fuck down.
yeah. We got the dogs at our place.
Do you?
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
Yes. And so we got them separated. He got talked to by security, and I pulled the wife aside. She was very much in the cycle of battered wife. Like, I was like, if you want, I can get you some resources right now. We can find you
Mhm.
somewhere to stay. She di- she didn't want anything to do with that, but I did call DFAX and report it as a mandated reporter because it very much also felt like those children were being abused in that home. But you see that all the time.
Yeah. I had this patient once. that came in. She was at another hospital in the community. They told her that her boyfriend couldn't stay the night there. So she had a chest tube in because she fell down 16 flights of stairs, and she was getting, that snap, crackle, pop under the skin where you could feel it,
Mhm.
the crepitus under there from the air pockets.
Mhm.
So, because her lung was collapsed. And so, after they told her, you can't have him stay, they left that facility carrying the chest tube and came to our hospital.
Oh
And
my
so
god.
I received this patient, and I was like, this is like, ma'am, you need to be hooked up to suction. Like, you have to get this air out of you. This is not like, this is very serious. And she's like, well, I just can't be without him. He has to stay with me every second of the day. My anxiety can't handle it. I need him. And it was just very much like sex trafficking vibes is what I got from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she was in a semi-private room. So there was another patient on the other side of the curtain. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get you transferred into a private room because that's just the policy. You can't have people stay the night there. And really, it's up to the night shift's discretion, anyways. And so
Yeah.
she's like, well, I'll leave right now. I can't. And I said, no, it's okay. Like, you stay. I'm going to get you, your private room. Just, why did they lie to me down there? I said, probably because this is life threatening and they would have told you anything to come in here.
You will die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, because it was a Friday, she's like, I have to be in court Monday. So this has to be resolved by Monday. Man, we can't just reinflate your lung by Monday. I can't.
People are wild.
So, I got her calm, got her hooked up to suction. She's very thin. She looks like, just malnourished, great, like just a gray skin. Didn't wanna look me in my eyes. Every time I asked her a question, he would answer it. So I would repeat my
Mm.
question. I didn't even regard him because
Mm.
I so I'd re-ask the question as many times as I needed to until she answered me. So they finally got the idea that I'm not taking answers from him. But you
Mhm.
have to do this in the most, like, gentle and intentional way for the safety of your
Yeah.
patient. And so this is, like, I just over identified with this so much, just being in just from my trauma and past relationships that were physically abusive. So, like, he made these little comments like, "Oh, I guess the next house I buy won't be with stairs, haha," because the story was she got too drunk. She only drinks once a month, and when she does, she gets hammered and she fell down the stairs. Okay, this ain't my first time talking to somebody that lies as a patient. What? So,
It's funny
mm,
the things people think you will believe.
yeah, and she ended up having gonorrhea and chlamydia on top of that she needed to be treated for. So, it wasn't even a conversation of, "Oh, so he also cheats on you." Like, this is you can't get, and it's so sad because it's like Stockholm syndrome. These people look at
Yeah.
their abusers as the only means for them to survive, and they cling to them for security. And you can't just have a conversation with somebody when, their abuser walks to the bathroom real quick like, "Hey, are you safe?" Like,
No.
and because they don't get the severity of their own situation because they're so brainwashed. So, ended up getting this patient to a private room, and Monday morning, she walked out with her chest tube, carrying her box to make it to court, and the surgeon
Jesus.
was like, "I'm not taking this out of you," and they got in a screaming match, and he's like, "No, it's unsafe, you could die, I'm not taking this out of you. Absolutely not."
Yeah.
So, yep, they ended up
Like, you
leaving.
can call court and tell them 'em you're in the hospital, we'll write you a note.
Yeah, and I don't
You'll
and
be
who knows,
fine.
I know, and who knows if that was the truth or not. I highly doubt that it
Right.
was, but it was, I think about that girl often, wonder how she's doing. I hope she's okay, but it's the situations like that where you over identify with people and you're like, I wish that I could
Absolutely.
just, like, take you home and, like, save you, and you can't.
Mhm. There's a trend going around TikTok right now where people are apologizing to the medical professionals that took care of them and, like, saying, I hope that you don't think of me when you,
Aw.
I don't know, whatever. And so one of them was like, actually, someone we went to school with, she shared that same thought. She lost her son, and she was talking about like her screaming in the hospital when she lost her son. And I mean, I feel like people don't understand the gravity. Like, we carry so much with us. We hold it together while we're at work,
Mhm,
but like I won't forget the screams. I've had patients in the ER lose their children,
mhm.
and I can still hear their screams in my head.
Yeah,
Um I can still see the face of the first patient that I lost. Like, that stuff sticks with you, and
yeah,
we
it
try
does.
to bury it down, but it's there, and
Mhm,
it's a part of us. There's no getting rid of that. Like, you're caring for the most precious thing in the world, life,
mhm.
every day. It's an honor, but it's also traumatizing.
It is, and I do my days, like, grouped in a row, like, 3 days on and then 4 days on. So
Mhm.
I get more attached to my patients working because you have the same assignment with the same patients usually in multiple days in a row. So you get to know the families, you get to know the patients. And yeah, I remember this on my 4th day, this man, we had to give him CPR and he didn't make it. You don't forget the look on their faces while you're doing that and the family just being devastated and you have to console them. I remember his
Mhm.
brother was there, his brother was cool, and at the end of my shift, I was walking out to the parking lot, and he ended up, like, kinda parking next to me in the parking ramp, oddly, and we just hugged each other and cried at the end of my shift, and
Mm.
it's just so it's heartwarming to be able to build that relationship with your patients and their families, but man, it's gut-wrenching too. It's
Mhm.
hard. I don't even know if
It
we stayed
really
on
is.
subject for this podcast
We've
today.
been all over the place.
I know, but
I
I
didn't
feel
wanna.
like it's real, like, this is what our profession does,
Yes.
it changes you and it's real, and my kids, ugh, I feel sorry for the little things because nothing's really that big a deal to me. You're breathing, you're not bleeding to death, your heart's beating,
Mhm.
all you're doing is talking shit right now, get out my face. Like, if anything, you
We
need
have, like,
2
yeah.
Band-Aids and that's it, 2 Band-Aids and drink some
Right.
water, like, so,
Yeah.
I feel like now that I'm more settled into my career, I work takes a lot out of me. I've given myself just the permission to have a rejuvenation day and rest after 3 and 4 days of working in a row. And also, things aren't that big a deal. I mean, we have our life. Some of these people that come in that we have to take care of are in the most horrendous conditions. Bed sores,
Yeah.
neglect, bed bugs, lice,
Mm.
missing limbs,
Maggots.
stroke oh, the maggots, stroke victims that have one side I mean, their ability to wipe their ass and even have a conversation anymore is gone, and
Yep.
let's I mean, maybe we should not even get into the fact that some of these families keep their loved ones alive, and I know that's a whole cultural thing, it's your personal preference. We listen and we don't
Mhm.
judge, but
I judge.
would you wanna be kept
When
alive like
people don't
this?
understand suffering.
You have bed sores, you have tubes in every orifice of your
Yeah.
body, you're septic all the time, you have to be suctioned with
You
your
have to
trach all
put
the time.
yourself in their place. Like, would you want that? Do you wanna be laying there being suctioned with a trach, fed through a tube, can't move yourself, can't talk? Like, do
You're
you want that life?
excoriated on your bottom because you literally have sat in your pee and your feces for longer than anybody should have. So, I don't know, I get that we don't wanna let go of our loved ones. I
But do
don't
you
there's
want to make them suffer?
Oh, what is that? Ethics. I consult the ethics committee sometimes with,
Mhm.
in
Yep.
those situations, but
And
I
there's
don't
been the
believe
ones
it.
that their
But
family keeps
man.
them alive just to get that check.
Oh, yes. That is Very
That's
true.
definitely when
So
I've
that's so
consulted the ethics committee.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's a part of that as well. It's not
Are
always
there any
love.
health lesson No. Are there any health lessons that you've taken from nursing, like,
Oh, yeah,
things that you
do not live a sedentary lifestyle. Don't drink
mm,
alcohol. If you're struggling with smoking, quit. Don't eat
yeah,
processed foods.
smoking is huge.
The processed foods will kill you. Don't consume so much media. The Don't consume the news, period.
Yeah, yeah.
And be compliant with your
Diabetes
blood pressure medication and your blood thinners.
blood pressure, diabetes, like, getting your diabetes under control affects your entire life. If your diabetes
Yes,
is not under control, you will have a heart attack, you will have a stroke, you will shut down your kidneys, like, it
you will
will
get your feet and your
ruin
legs
your
chopped
life.
off. I remember this guy I took care
Right,
of the other day. I remember when he had legs.
and you're
It's
like, "Oh." They
it's
just keep chopping up higher and higher.
yeah, they
It's
do.
sad.
It is so sad. And I get
I
it,
would
like
also say,
go ahead.
does Michigan still doesn't have a helmet law, right? Like, you cannot wear a helmet in Michigan
Yeah, we don't
on
have
a
that law.
motorcycle?
I highly suggest that you do.
Absolutely. When I worked in the ED in Michigan, I had patients come in, their entire scalp, the top of their cranium missing.
Mm,
Wear a fucking helmet. If you have to be in a car and wear a seatbelt, why would you not think that you should wear a helmet on a motorcycle where you're not protected from anything? And
people don't
people
do that
do it, and
anymore.
it enrages me, and they get into this, like, "Oh, well, I'm a good driver." It has nothing to do with you being a good driver, because 'cause I'm not a good driver, and there's a lot of people driving big vehicles that are not a
Mhm.
good driver, and if they swerve into you and you crash, like, that's your life.
I agree with that. I
I do
was
have a funny one.
I was gonna
Oh,
I wanna hear, but I was gonna just say that manage your stress levels.
yeah.
Manage your stress levels and maintain healthy relationships. I see that a lot of people that are unhealthy don't have healthy relationships and they're constantly stressed out, which
Mhm.
raises cortisol levels. So find a good spiritual practice, a good therapist. I think that
Yes. I think everyone in healthcare should be in therapy.
not not just that
100%.
for sure, but like the patients that come in, the ones that are the familiar faces or the ones
Mhm.
that you just it's their issues are chronic. There's a point of no return, like of
Yeah.
what they've done to their bodies. They struggle internally so much, and maybe they don't have the resources or the education or it's their belief system, ancestral trauma and
Mhm.
all that combined. So just mind, body, soul, try to be try to be as healthy and as aware as you can. Learn.
Yeah. I think the first skill to learn as a nurse is boundaries and how to decompress, how to handle stress, because
Mhm.
once that stress starts piling, it just keeps going. And if you don't already have a set, like, this is how I decompress, this is how I recenter myself, you're just going to continue to build on that stress and
Yeah. And ask for
until you
help.
burst. Yes.
Ask for help,
Ask for
and
help.
if you're that nurse that thinks I had a nursing student the other day, and the instructor came up to me, and it was the beginning of the shift. She "Just so you know, I have one of my more aggressive students today." And I was like, "I know, I
What
had
does
her
that
last
mean?
week." I said, "I just
Oh.
set boundaries with her because she thinks she knows everything, and it's scary because she's gonna hurt somebody." And so I was, like,
Oh.
entering my luteal phase, so I was already kinda, like I was that's not the first thing I wanted to hear in the morning. I said,
Right.
I said, "I'm aggressive too, it's okay." She assigned her to another nurse, in which I was
She's like,
kinda
"Oh, maybe
thankful
this
for him.
isn't a good combo."
I know, probably not a good combo, but so if you humble yourself.
Right.
I
That I
still
mean,
ask
there is the
questions.
balance. You can't be
Yeah.
overly confident. And no, that was the thing I was gonna say, is one thing they really don't emphasize in nursing school is healthcare is always changing, and you
Mhm.
have to be ready to embrace change because
Yes.
by nature, we want to say, okay, I learned this way. This is the way I'm always going to do it because we want to be competent in the things that we do. But we have to understand that we're always learning new ways to do things better. We're no longer, sharpening and reusing IV needles back in like they did back in the day. So, like,
Ew.
healthcare always changes, and we have to be welcoming of that change. And it's tough because you want to feel like, hey, I know my shit, but also be open to learning more.
Yeah. You wanna know what I think is a great invention is that PureWick invention?
Oh,
However
yeah. Yes. Uh-huh.
however, recently I mean, when you're using it chronically for somebody, they're starting to create, like, skin breakdown and excoriation,
Oh,
on women. I haven't really seen it on men too much, but more so women. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, now we're back to square one because I'm not gonna put this PureWick in my patient's
Yeah.
vaginal area. It's causing her more pain than good. And so now she's once again, she urinates, she's incontinent, and she's still sitting in her urine for a short period of time until, she gets changed. And so I wish they'd reinvent the cloth that they put on that so it doesn't irritate the skin so much because it's not they need to
Yeah.
come up with a better system for that. So I would embrace that change.
Shoot, girl, get out there and invent it, and you'll be making lots of money. I'm sure whoever invented the pure work is
Oh,
rolling
do
in
you
the
know that
dough.
story?
No.
An engineer invented it for his wife. I don't know why she couldn't move, but he
Uh-huh.
invented that at home, and yeah, he makes, I'm sure, billions from that. It was an engineer that did it for
Yeah.
love.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So my funny note to leave us on is
Yes.
I've learned this. I think I probably knew this going into nursing school because as soon as I turned 18, I had a friend that sold Pure Romance, and so
Oh, I miss those
I've known
parties.
about right? I've known about toys for a while. People stick things up their butt,
Oh, yes.
and you need to know that if it doesn't have a stopper on the end of it, your butt is a vacuum and it's going to suck it up and it's going to be up there and we're going to have to surgically remove it. I've had patients with shampoo bottles up there, tubs of shea butter,
Toy cars.
toy cars.
Toy cars.
Oof. And I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum. It's an erogenous zone. Play with it all you want, but have a stopper for safety. That's why you see butt plugs in the store and they have a base so that they don't get sucked in there.
With cute little diamonds on them.
Yeah, there's some that light up, there's some that have
Yeah.
tails, which the cleaning of that, I'm not sure how that happens, but
Oh,
you
I
know
haven't
what?
seen
There's
the
something for
tail
everyone.
ones. That's right.
Oh, yeah, there's, like,
Yes, please
furry
please talk
ones.
about it. I love that note.
That's my words of wisdom.
Yes, we will leave it at that. I think that's enough.
All
I
right,
love it.
guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are a nurse, we're sure you can relate. If you're not and you love someone that's a nurse, here's some insight into the world of nursing. If you're thinking about going into nursing, we've kept it real with you today.
Yes, we did.
We hope that you all have a great week and that you join us again next week. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Find us on YouTube. Namaste.
Namaste.